First of all, sir, I would like to welcome you on our show. It's a complete honor and privilege to have you back on our show again. Air Marshal retired Saeed Khan Saab from the Pakistan Air Force. Sir, how are you?
Thank you very much, Ali. I'm so glad to be back with you today. You know,
It's a
and I
privilege
really
here, sir.
appreciate your shows and your presentations. They're very good.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to have you back again. Sir, during the last few days, there's been a surprising statement coming from the Indian Air Chief, which has boggled many minds. The Indian Air Chief, claims that after 3 months of the Pakistan-Indian skirmish, he claims that Indian Air Force has downed around 6 aircrafts. First of all, I just want you to like zoom out and just give us a review of what you think. How was his statements and speech? What do you think of it as a professional?
Ali, before coming on to your show, once you declared the topic to me, I especially went on Google and I listened to his whole speech, which was almost 1 hour long, 2 times, because I didn't want to miss out anything important what he had said, so that we can discuss his speech, at length, in a very analytical way, right? And I was very surprised at the claims that he had made. Such claims can go on in a movie or in any discussion with people who have no knowledge of how things happen in these modern days. But it cannot be, things in today's age cannot be hidden from anybody, right? So now, let me, once you are saying that he claimed 6 aircraft, he actually claimed 6 aircraft up in the air. He's also claiming 5 to 6 aircraft on ground, right? Now, you know, I would simply say that, uh, I was very saddened to listen to his speech, right? He's a person at such a higher senior rank, right? People expect that he would always speak the truth, at least to his own people and to his own institution. And a lie coming from him, which can be just, by listening to it, any sane mind would say that this is not possible what you're saying, sir, right? It is actually a disrespect not only to him, but to the Indian Air Force as well as to the Indians in public. Now, let me just explain it to you in a few ways that how do you find his claims to be obnoxious, really obnoxious. The two weapons which he has repeatedly talked about are the S-400 and the BrahMos missile, which they have. Now, just in very short, in a minute, let me tell you what these two missiles are, right? Um, S-400 is a SAM. It is called a surface to air missile. It can be only fired from the surface to an object in the air, right? Now, uh, like S-400 battery, it is also called Iron Dome, meaning thereby that it has something like 24 to 48 missiles in one battery, depending on to how big a battery you have, right? And it has missiles of different ranges within its arsenal, meaning thereby that you can shoot a target at the farthest range and you can shoot a target at the closest range. So that is why it is called an Iron Dome. But it is used against objects in the air like stealth aircraft, normal fighter aircraft, drones, or any other like Elent or AEWCs or an airliner. Any object that is up in the air can be picked up by a radar. It can be engaged with an S-400 irrespective of the distance. S-400 basically, Ali, is the advanced version of S-200, after which S-300 came, and now we have the S-400, meaning thereby that the main radar, it has two radars. One is the acquisition radar and one is the targeting radar or the firing radar. Uh, the targeting radar, the acquisition radar has almost a range of 400 kilometers. So if you can pick up an object at 400 kilometers, you can shoot at that object also at 400 kilometers. So that is why it is known as S-400. The other weapon they are talking of is a BrahMos. Okay, just one step back. Um, S-400 is from the Russian Design Bureau. Okay. Now coming over to the BrahMos. BrahMos is a co-production of both the Russians and the Indians, right? And it is basically a air-launched weapon, or it can be, and it is known as a cruise missile, right? Now this cruise, they have done some modifications lately, and this weapon can be fired from the ground. It can also be fired from a ship or any other launcher too, right? So we have to understand the difference. S-400 can be fired on objects in the air, while uh, BrahMos is fired on objects on the ground. So they are two different weapons for two different domains, right? Now the uh, the air chief says that they have been able to hit a target, a big target, which he presumes to be an LNT or an AEWC. And he says that they shot it at 300 kilometers, and he got an applause also for it, when the people said, accepted it. And he said that this is the longest shot, which has ever come by an S-400. Now, if that be true, presumably, let's give the best option to them. If that be true, S-400 is a modern weapon system. It has a radar with it, right? The acquisition radar. And once you fire the weapon, then it is at a certain stage taken over by the firing radar or the terminal radar, and that radar guides the weapon to the target. Now, you can at that very precise moment know whether the target has been hit or the missile has gone astray, right? You can know the range, the bearing, the location, the height there and then. And if you had some time available to you and you had the data of enemy aircraft available in your threat warning library, then you would even know the type of the aircraft it was, right? So, it is just like this thing that you have a sensor and that you have fed certain parameters of certain threats to you into that sensor. That sensor, when he receives a radioactive, a radio wave, the sensor is able to decipher which type of a target it is. So we presume that India would have data on our F-16s, on our JF-17s, maybe not J-10C, but on most of the aircraft that we fly, the Mirages, the F-7s and everything. So if it was true, right, Indians should have claimed it at that very day, at that very moment, saying that we have shot an aircraft at 300 kilometers. Now, it has taken the Indian air chief 93 days to claim anything. Now, in between, we have, briefings to the international press and local media by both the countries. They did not remember this shot at that time. Well, if it was actually there, it was something to be very proud of. You know that you had a weapon system which has shot an aircraft. But I think he made this claim simply because a week ago from now, writers had published a list of the longest shots ever fired in the in the aviation history. And only till a week ago, it was the Americans with an MRAM. They were able to take out a target at 120 kilometers, right? They said that now the record is that the longest shot is with the Pakistan Air Force, a J-10C downing a Rafale at 200 kilometers. So it was not we who claimed that we have the longest shot in the aviation history. It was writers which is a very analytical, forum. They said that the longest shot record now is now held by Pakistan and not by America, right? So I think they just wanted to have a counter claim to that 200 kilometers,
There's another thing.
right?
At one side,
If,
yeah. Please continue.
yeah, no, please ask. Maybe I can answer.
On one side, they were completely silent for like 3 months, and when they're saying things, they're claiming a world record. This is ununderstandable.
Unmanageable. No, no, let me tell you, there is always a method in the madness. We, like you said, we have to take ourselves away and look at the enemy and say that why is he reacting this way, right? There are ways that people react to your aggression. You slap a person, there'll be a person who will immediately jump at your throat and try to catch you there. There is another person who will take the beating at that time, but go back home, plan, and then come back to you and, take his revenge. So people behave in different ways. So I will always give the best to my enemy and say that, okay, let me give the best to the Indian Air Force chief. And let's say, why is he behaving this way? Right? First of all, I think that he is under immense political pressure, both from the government of India as well as from the people who are now asking very tricky questions from him and his institution. Right? So they have to save their face. And that pressure is now coming up. So that is why after 93 days, when they thought that the world has gone quiet and they have forgotten the May incident, he has now put up a claim. But by putting up this claim, he has made himself more ridiculous and laugh-worthy. People are laughing. Today is the fifth day since he has claimed. No country and no defense analyst has even said a word in favor of his claims. Right? Now, let me give you, let's say, going back, let's say we presume that S-400 would have shot aircraft at 300 kilometers, but that claim or that confirmation of the kill would have been there on the controller screen at that very moment. All they had to do was take out a blueprint of that screen, like we did when we talked to the international media, and they should have just played that screen and said that, see, we shot this is a Pakistani aircraft, we tracked it, we fired on it, and now at 300 kilometers, you see the blip going off and the sensor indicating that the aircraft is no more up in the air, right? So we claim a kill over here. And you can even, once you put those coordinates on the ground, you can even find the place on ground where the debris should have fallen. Like we said, if you would have looked at the map, Ali, we said that we have downed 5 aircraft, and these are the ground positions where the debris should have fallen. Right? Similarly, let's talk of the other weapon they said. And they said that we hit a few of their bases as well as, targets on the bases. Now, those were the things on which we had agreed much, in our briefing too. We said that, yes, you fired close to 60 plus BrahMos on us. But the truth is that out of those 60 plus, only 5 or 6 hit the targets. Rest all went astray, or we either, corrupted their, travel, and we made them go haywire, or simply because of the electronic warfare which was happening in that area, they could not go and hit their targets, right? So the success rate of the BrahMos, if we 65 out of 60, so let's assume it was 10%, right? And the failure rate was 90% against Pakistan. So whatever. Now, on the very first day, we ourselves showed the satellite imagery of our targets hit on ground. We showed the satellite imagery of the target maintenance hangars, hit at Jakbabad and Bhulari. And we also showed, one of our major runways, their link, a link which uh, is a way between the parallel and the main runway. We showed that, yes, one of the BrahMos came here and it damaged us. So, that was a claim which was not, which we were contesting, right? But what was surprising to me was that if we had that imagery, so would they be having that imagery too, right? So now they are showing, in his briefing, he shows that this is the maintenance hangar with before the hit, and this is the maintenance hangar after the hit. And he says that I presume that because it was a maintenance hangar, there would be aircraft in it, and because they would have been aircraft, so we claim them as a kill. All you had to do was zoom onto that imagery and find out whether there were aircraft inside or not. You could have done a few, you look at the imagery in different lights and you can even see through the walls of the, uh, uh, you know, uh, the imagery that you have or the object that you have. Like I can, through certain, techniques that I have, I can look through the wall, find out that is there a heat generating object behind the wall or not. There are so many techniques to it. So if you were claiming, assuming you did not claim at that time because you wanted to be perfect and now you're doing it, give us something, give us an evidence that there was some aircraft over there. So both their claims, are, I'm sorry for using this word. Now, once I said that there is a method in this madness, why is there? Now, from 10th May to today, Ali, if you look at the things, the two people who are, or the two agencies who have actually perturbed the present government and the Indian Air Force uh, are one, the politicians sitting uh, in their assembly, and the people at large. All the defense analysts and tajziyakar sitting in India, they're asking, difficult questions. These are the two things, these are the two people they have to satisfy. Now, if you remember when the assembly session was starting on that day, I think 15 days ago, when BJP expected that Congress would be asking difficult questions, they had an Operation Mahadev in Kashmir. And they said that all those terrorists who had done Pahalgam, we caught them in Kashmir and we have shot them. And then the only evidence they could show us was that they had chocolates in their pockets which are made from Pakistan, and they had kept it for 3 months in their pockets as an evidence that they were from Pakistan. Whom are you trying to
And
make a fool?
this was happening just a few moments, few hours before the assembly session.
So the people over there, even the opposition politicians, they were laughing at the prime minister and the interior minister over there and said that which type of a story are you telling us? Okay, we presume that they were Pakistanis, they got these trophies from Pakistan, but did they keep it in their pocket for 3 months? They should have eaten it in those 3 months, right? So similarly, what was the objective? If I was from the BJP or I was the one, they just wanted that the space on the TV channels should be bifurcated between Kashmir and the assembly. If there was no Operation Mahadev, the whole channels would have been at the assembly, and the whole nation would have been seeing that how the government was being castigated. Now, similarly here, now when the world has started asking, tricky questions, and people are saying that, okay, if you say that you did not ask for a ceasefire and you were on the winning streak, first tell us that how you were on the winning streak. And if you were on the winning streak, why did you accept ceasefire? Right? If I'm winning a war, why should I accept ceasefire? I'll say, okay, he should They should say that they are sorry and I'll stop. Right? That's the most natural way of the. So now, just to create that image in the minds of the people that they were winning, they had to come up with a claim which was bigger than Pakistan. What's the difference between them and us? On that very day when we were having that briefing, if you remember, an international correspondent said that, according to his information and his calculations, you have downed not 5 but 6 aircraft. And this is what our prime minister also at certain
Yes.
occasion, said that thing. But the Air Force did not claim it. And Air Force has not claimed till today. Not that we don't believe that that aircraft has gone down. We do not have an evidence to show to the world that it was downed by us. So we did not claim it as a target that was destroyed by us. So this is the difference between the two air forces.
So this is what I'm trying to figure out. The air chief, Indian air chief, his speech was very unprofessional. It had very less. It was unempirical. Very less evidences. He was talking about numbers without talking about numbers, and there was probability in every sentence. Probably this happened. I expect that this happened. I assume that this happened. It was like very, very unprofessional. I was thinking, was this imposed on him just before, just hours before he had to make an appearance?
You see, he's a man under tremendous stress. That you can just by looking at him realize. And there is again, there is a sequence of events that has happened in the last 3 months. You know, First of all, uh, bad conduct and uh, uh, suppression through force has become a trademark of the BJP and RSS in India. And they especially use it against their minorities. If you remember, before the between 22nd and 22nd April and 6th May, you know, every senior person who was from the minority sect, either a Muslim or a Sikh, he was being targeted either as a coward or as a person who cannot be trusted upon at senior ranks, right? So I think the Air Chief Marshal Singh was under tremendous pressure simply because he belongs to a minority, religion in India. Secondly, if you remember, uh, just after 10th of May, deliberately, junior officers manhandled him at an Air Force base. How depressing and, it would be for an air chief to be, manhandled by his own institution and then being told that, we have lost this conflict because of you and because you are a Sikh, you are a pro-Pakistan. So now every Muslim and Sikh in India has to prove their loyalty to the Hindu majority over there. Now, this is ridiculous, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I fully agree with you 100% that he was under tremendous stress to give this statement. Because now the government wants, the Bihar elections are, I think, just a few days away, and they have to build up a story, where they say. And that is why, more than his statement, I take the statement of the Indian CDS more seriously, where he said that there is a conflict that is expected between Pakistan and India in a very, very short time frame, and that would primarily be won on land because they have realized that they cannot win the air battle from Pakistan. So he has, in his speech, said that the decision would be made on land, meaning thereby that they will try to do a land battle with Pakistan.
That's true. Even these statements of the air chief of Indian air chief, that also cements what Pakistan was saying. Pakistan was saying that India wasn't able to fly its aircraft after the first night of battle, and what the air chief is claiming is that all, if there were any jets being downed, he was claiming that it was done by S-400s and by BrahMos. That actually tells you what Pakistan was telling the world, that their jets wasn't in the air after that
There
incident.
at all. I think it's an excellent point you are making, Ali. I think it's an excellent way of looking at things that, aircraft should have been shot by aircraft
बिल्कुल.
up in the air. You know, we would presume that S-400 has that range, but to take out an object at that range, is something very difficult because, acquisition radars are not that high-tech radars even today, right? So I fully agree with you that this statement by the Indian Air Chief has actually made a mockery of him. And the more disturbing thing for India should be that they are the fourth biggest air force in the world today, right? And now they're claiming something, and not a single country or a person in the world is ready to listen, to agree that their claims are correct. I think this is a matter of great disrespect for the institution as well as for the country.
Sir, we need some
That you say
insights. Yeah.
the success for Pakistan is not the 4 day conflict. I think we have gained something more in these 4 days than just beating India on the in the military domain. I think in what India was trying for the last 25 years was to paint Pakistan as a country that was the hub of terrorism in this region. They went to every international fora and they tried to convince them, and that is why for a very, very long time we stayed under FATF, right? Every country in the world thought that we were the ones who was fanning, uh, uh, terrorism in this part of the world. We were the ones, our proxies were the ones which were creating all these, killings in so many countries. But India has lost that narrative today. So their hard work for 20, 25 years has just gone down because the government of the day today in India is speaking a lie. And the whole world realizes that they are telling lies. So it is not we who are saying that we are very good. It is the world which is saying that no, Indians, you are telling lies. And because you are telling lies, Pakistanis have won the war. They are not the people who are creating destabilization in this region. It is you people who are creating destabilization in this region. If you remember, just a few days, just after the conflict, 10th May, I think it was 15th, 16th May, when Ajit Doval said that, yes, we are supporting BLA and the Abdul Majid Brigade. Why? Because they are fighting a war of independence in Pakistan. Just yesterday, America has declared them terrorist organizations. So why? Because the people have realized that it is not Pakistan which is fanning proxies in this region. All this instability in this region, in China, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, every instability is because of one country, and that is India. And that is, in my view, the bigger loss they had. जब एक sorry, like we say, हम कहते हैं ना कि उर्दू में, let me just say because probably I can express it better, कि जब आपका एक मरतबा आप पर से इत्मीनान उठ जाए ना, तो फिर आपकी कोई बात सच्ची नहीं लगती, फिर आपकी हर बात जो है ना वो dubious हो जाती. So India is going through that phase now. They thought that they spoke a lie in Pulwama and they won a national election on that. ठीक है ना? They will again do it, and they will, have the same script made again, right? Fortunately for us, that we have succeeded in, exposing their lie.
Sir,
I think I
because
would give more credit to Indians than to us in exposing this lie. Their behavior exposed them more than us.
sir, because we have the privilege of having you on the show, we would want to have some insights. What happens after a fighter pilot conducts a mission goes in war, comes back. How do they assess what happens? There must be SOPs, and it must have a timeline as well to it.
In the next, first of all, like I told you, Ali, the shot is confirmed up in the air. Either it is visual, you see an aircraft going down, and if you are seeing as a pilot going down, your aircraft is also seeing the aircraft going down. So you have a video of it, which you can present as an evidence, right? But this was the first time on the night between 6th and 7th May. It was the first time in aviation history that an aerial battle in the BVR domain was fought, meaning thereby that there was the shots were taken at very long ranges. And that is why we once we gave the briefing, we said that the wreckage of all these 5 aircraft has fallen in India. Generally, as a thumb rule, once there is a conflict between two countries and you are at the border, patrolling against each other, you generally do not engage an aircraft and do not shoot at it till the time a pilot is sure that the debris will fall in your own country.
Okay.
Right? This is a way of saying that he was the aggressor and I was the defender. Because he aggressed, he, ingressed into my territory, and that is why I shot him. So there is a thumb rule to that. But in the BVR domain, it cannot happen because, like I told you, writers said that the longest shot in the world now lies with the J-10C shooting Rafale, and it is something like 200 kilometers. So if we were in Pakistan, let's say we were 50 kilometers inside us, the debris should have fallen 150 kilometers away. Now, how in that this thing is, I have shot down an aircraft. First of all, uh, there is a video that everything which I'm seeing in the cockpit, my head-up display, my helmet-mounted sight, everything, and all the info. If I'm firing a missile, if the missile is a active missile, right, or everything, all data is being recorded within the aircraft, and that can be downloaded within a minute as soon as the aircraft lands. So if a pilot claims that I have shot down, he has to show video evidence of that. And how is that video evidence? That first of all, he shows that, this was my RIO, or the scope which I had, and here is the target which was at, let's say, 250 kilometers. I locked it up, I fired my missile, and the missile and impacted at it at 200 kilometers. I'm just giving an example. And at 200 kilometers, in that video, you would see, on the screen, you would see that the scope, that blip which was there, which was being tracked, on which the firing was done, right? That blip vanishes from the screen, meaning thereby that the thing has exploded or it is not. Now, then it is supplemented by the ground radar, because there is a ground radar also which is looking at the whole thing. And then there is also an airborne radar, the AEWC. So, you get inputs from all the sources, and then the claim is given to the pilot, right? It is not the pilot says that, okay, sir, this is my video shot and I claim aircraft over it. It has to be substantiated by the ground agencies. It has to be substantiated by the other agencies up in the air. And when all say that, yes, there was a missile, there was a target up there and it was destroyed by this aircraft, is the shot given to the pilot, right? So it is and that is what we were looking at. Let's say, if we can shoot down 6 aircraft, Indians can also shoot down aircraft. But then show us the evidence, like we are showing you evidence. Here is my video evidence. Here is my radar evidence, right? We are even telling you that if we put these coordinates on the ground, this should be the place where the wreckage should have fallen. And then through your own intelligence or through Indian television channel, people tell you that, yes, something has fallen in that area. People make videos from their cameras, mobiles, and they show that something is burning. So, all this is evidence of the claim.
So, like yourself, you're giving evidences, you're giving scientific numbers. The Indian air chief made new claims with old pictures, and no one questioned him. All the pictures were old, and it was of bases. And Pakistan never hid this. Pakistan was on the table with it. We never said that there was nothing attacked here in Pakistan, but they showed all those old images with new claims that the jets have been downed, and there was no picture of any sort of jet or a video or anything substantiating that.
The biggest slap they have received is that no one in the world has agreed to their claims. There are agencies, there are countries. Like if they say that we presume that the F-16s have been destroyed in the hangar, then we have the Americans, who are monitoring each and everything. The Americans should say that yes, we have evidence that one or two or three F-16s have been severely damaged by the Indians in this attack. Because if we have to even recover those aircraft, we have to go back to the Americans for spare parts, for everything. So, like once we said, Ali, that we destroyed two, radar sensors of S-400. Our claim was proven by the Indian CDS himself when he said that the two radars have been ordered from Russia, and hopefully the S-400 batteries which are facing Pakistan would be operational in a short time. So once we claimed, we showed evidence that, okay, you see, here is the video evidence. Here I fired the missile. Here the missile has gone and hit the radar antenna, and the S-400 battery is gone. Right? But it is substantiated by the enemy also when he orders two radars from Russia to now replace that radar antenna. So, all our claims, I still remember that, once we retired senior officers were being briefed on this conflict, the chief of the Air Force was very categoric in saying, so that, the world is willing to give us the sixth claim also. But we are not taking it. Because I do not have all the evidence to convince my own self that it went down because of us. Right? Where the world is willing to give it to us, the Air Force was not willing to take it. And that is the uprightness, I think, that has impressed the world too. Sach ki apni ek taakat hoti hai. So they said that yes, irrespective whether we are the good guys or the bad guys, at least the world now realizes that we are the professional guys. When we say something, we have evidence to prove it, and we have done it.
True.
So anything that we claimed was substantiated there and then. People questioned it. People not asking them questions is the embarrassment for them. An air chief has claimed the longest shot in the world in the aviation history, and nobody is even raising an eyebrow to it.
And he's 90 days late.
He's 90 days late, and nobody is even clapping outside that hall. Not his own people are not accepting.
This is where I
I
want
think
to.
it would be very interesting to. Sorry, Ali.
Yeah, no, take it away.
There is a very interesting interview of Praveen Swani.
Yeah, I saw that.
With
Yeah.
Karan Thapar.
Yeah.
After the air chief's claim.
Yeah.
And I think he was
Brilliant.
more sarcastic than what I am being today.
Yeah.
Because everything has to be proved to the world. Because you see, S-400 is a machine, or is an in Pakistani rupees it costs something like 1.5 billion rupees a battery. 1.5 billion rupees is a big amount, right? And there are only a few countries in the world who actually have S-400 batteries. It is considered as one of the most potent systems in the world. Even Israel has it. When they have 99% Western equipment, they prefer to go for an Iron Dome from Russia, right? So when you claim such things, the Russians should have been on the seventh heaven,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like the Chinese were when the PL-15 hit the aircraft at 190 plus kilometers, right? The Chinese were on the seventh heaven. Static was, you know, uh, वो कहते हैं लुड्डी पा रहे थे, ठीक है
True.
ना? Because their weapon was proved in war.
Succeeded. Yeah,
ठीक है?
succeeded. They succeeded.
So, and if it was true what the air chief or Indian air chief was saying, the Russians should have claimed it before the Indians that our S-400 has shot down an aircraft at 300 kilometers, and we have evidence for that. They are not saying anything. They are quiet, meaning thereby that they also don't believe his claim.
So what I'm trying to dig out is, what about the people immediately under the air chief, Indian air chief? They would be knowing exactly what went down, and this would like affect the environment of the entire institution. What do you say about this?
Yeah, the air chief marshal is lost. The leadership's strength lies in belief, in trust, and in being a role model for all those who are under you, right? And that is why, the leaders are expected to have the highest moral and ethical standards while in office. Why? Because everyone is looking at you and wants to be you. And with a very heavy heart, although uh, Indian Air Forces are enemy number one. But I really feel sorry for the air chief because I know that he has been forced to give this statement. It was just like you just कहते हैं कि एक तीर फेंका गया था कि शायद निशाने पे लग जाए, जो which did not happen. ठीक है ना? But in the bargain, his respect was taken away. Those who were listening know that this is a false claim. And a false claim coming from such a senior person further diminishes his stature in the eyes of his subordinates. And I really feel sorry for him. And I'm sure he must be sorry himself.